Hello and welcome to all of you, dear astrology friends. Welcome to this horoscope that is all about the full moon in Gemini. And that is about to happen around the 27th of November of 2023. So, what is this? First of all, thank you so much for all of you who've been supporting my channel. Basically, you know, it's growing, it's still growing after all these years. It's slowly but surely, and I like that. So keep on doing that, keep on supporting, keep on liking, subscribing, ordering readings and whatnot. I love it. It's an honor to do this, basically. Anyway, now let's talk about this full moon. And first of all, for all the signs, so on a collective base, and then very precise, concise, not too long. What is it going to be for all the 12 signs? You know, what is it going to be for Aries, for Taurus, and with not too much, you know, exploring all the rest of the horoscope, which is more. If you want to do that, you can watch the monthly horoscopes of November, December. They're all out there on the playlists. Now, my favorite, I've got two favorite full moons in the year. It's the one in Sagittarius and it's the one in Gemini. So now we're about to have the moon at approximately 4 to 5 degrees of Gemini, and it's going to oppose the sun at 4 to 5 degrees of Sagittarius. So that is that full moon in Gemini. It's one of the most, you could say, enjoyable full moons. And why is that? Because Gemini is a very light sign. It's lighthearted and it's about making fun. You know, if you want to have a party, for instance, do it on a full moon in Gemini or a full moon in Sagittarius. You know, the spirits are going to be all very you could say light and with a lot of positivism towards the future, which is Sagittarius, and so on and so on. So it's very, very bold energy. But you hear me coming. I don't want to say this is going to be a horrible moon. But it's not going to be, not at all, by the way. It's what we make out of it, you know. But we have to be very clear and very practical with all of this. And it's a very Saturnial flavor that this moon is getting. It's, and that's, of course, turning it into something totally different. And why is that? It's not just that the moon opposes the sun. It's also the moon is going to oppose Mars. Because Mars and the sun are traveling very close together, right to each other. So I think Mars will be at 2 degrees. I'm just looking here. Yeah, Mars will be at 2 degrees of Sagittarius together with the sun, 4 degrees, and then opposing the moon. So this is a lot of fire, Mars and the sun in Sagittarius. And don't forget also Mercury at the beginning, well, not at the beginning, but also Mercury at the end of Sagittarius is also in Sagittarius, the planet Mercury. So a lot of fire that we have here, a lot of that spirit of, I want to know the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and I'm going to act on it, you know, with these male planets. And I'm gonna say the truth, even if you don't like it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's Sagittarius. I'm gonna say, you know, you're ugly. You're ugly. I hope not. But your dress is ugly, or your cravat, or how do you say that? Your costume. It's just fighting. You know, the brown colors are fighting with the red colors, or whatever it is. You're gonna be honest, and you're not going to sugarcoat around. You're just going to say as it is, you know. And sometimes a little bit, even a bit too harsh, you know. So we're having that going on, and then we're having the moon actually activating all of this, you know, in an opposition. So we are going to be fired up for sure. For sure. Are we going to be fired up to act? For sure. For sure. So it is a drive. The moon, when it touches Mars, it's always a drive to act, and especially in combination with the sun. So yes, there's going to be a drive to act and to act on our emotions. So something we get driven emotionally and we want to act upon it. That's very much Moon Mars. Moon Mars is like a moon in Aries, right? It doesn't think, it does. And sometimes for good and sometimes not so good. So what I'm trying to say here is that there is a lot of energy available to us, but this all squares to Saturn. That's it. It all squares up to Saturn. So Saturn is at the very beginning of another mutable sign. So these are all mutable signs, right? Gemini is mutable. Mutable means like, yeah, you can go to the right, go to the left. We're adjusting. We go to the left. Oh, obstacle. Okay, we go to the right. It's a good trait to have. When you're flexible, unless you go too far with it, then you have no stability anymore. You have no boundaries anymore. But so the universe is demanding of us with all this mutable energy to go a little bit like, adaptability, to be adaptable. That's the strength now. But with Saturn, it's testing times. It's testing time. Saturn is in another mutable sign of Pisces at like 0 to 1 degree, almost 1 degree of Pisces. So Saturn is almost exactly squaring up to the moon. Saturn is exactly squaring up to Mars and the Sun. So what is this energy about? On a positive level, let's read it, because it's like the weather forecast is what it is, this is the weather, right? And I'm looking outside now and it's raining, and me as a human being, I could say, it's raining, I don't want to get all wet. So I'm going to stay inside, I'm going to work. I can say that. And I go with the flow, right? I go with the flow. But I can also say, hey, hang on a minute. I had to do some shopping still in the city, and I'm going by foot. So I'm going to take an umbrella with me, right? So although it is raining and I know it's a bit frustrating, I'm going to go into that weather anyways. You see, we co-create. We have not all the power, of course, we're not gods, but we have choices. And it's the same with this energy, because Saturn here, it's not doing it to annoy you. It's not doing it to say, oh, whoa, whoa, hold your horse. It's a lot about hold your horse, this kind of expression here. Because the Saturn, although this is such a buoyant energy, Saturn is definitely, the weather forecast is definitely saying, whoa, hold your horses, be cautious. What is going on here? Do we have enough money here? For example, do we have enough money to do that project? Do we have, if you're going to declare your love, for instance, is this a wise thing to do? Is this person ready for you? All these, you could say insecurities, but it's just being cautious. That's Saturn. Saturn is, and in a good way, if you want to use this, we call it a T-square in astrology, which is tension, a lot of frustration. This is very frustrating energy. I'm not really keen on that, but who is? I mean, unless you like to do a lot of sport, you can get out the fire, with all this Sagittarian. It is the sign of sports. It really is. When people have like the moon in Sagittarius or a Sagittarius ascendant, they tend to be a little bit more sporty than others. Of course, there's exceptions, but anyway. So do a lot of sport. If you feel frustrated and you can't do anything about it, it's out of your control, I strongly suggest do sports. Do sports that are safe, by the way. Because of this Mars Saturn, it could mean like testing times for structure, for the bones or whatever. But I'm digressing here. What I'm trying to say here, on the most positive level, with the stress, yes, but on the most positive level, and I've written it down, so I'm going to look at it, drive to act with mastery and cautious. So, caution. So you're going to feel the drive to act, and it's good to act, but do it with mastery and do it with caution. This is the energy, like, for instance, what I see a lot with Saturn squaring up to Mars, you see that a lot, or in a position, you see that a lot with surgeons. They have to cut something out, which is Mars, and they have to do it because it's important for your health, but they have to do it Saturnial. They have to make sure, yeah, what's your blood pressure and what's this and what's that. So they have to, it's that kind of energy. You know, Mars Saturn can be one of the most mastery energies to have. You know, people, again, when you look at a natal chart, which I often do when I'm not quite sure what is this energy all about, I think of people who've got those aspects in their chart. When you think about a Mars Saturn person, it's like, yeah, they want to act, but they feel at the same time a lot of resistance, you know. Can be those people who kind of, they become all red and they don't act, you know, that kind of energy. But in a good way, they can be the masters of Tai Chi, and because they know how to master all that boiled up energy, they know how to be the master of it. I can't put it in other words, you know. Saturn is the master and the teacher. So where is it in your life that you know you want to go forwards? You know that it's your time, but you also know that you have to be very cautious to not overdo it. It's nothing more and nothing less, this energy. It's Saturnial energy. It's a bit like when Mars squares up to Saturn. Mars is not in Sagittarius anymore, you could say. Mars is becoming a little bit more in the sign of Capricorn. You know, cautious and strategic, and it's going to plan, it's going to do it slow, it's going to do it step by step, and before you know it, they're at the top. You know, it's that energy. If we are mature enough, you know, that's why when people have a lot of Saturnial battles already done in their lives, in other words, when they're a bit older, you could argue that as well. But anyway, people will welcome this energy because people will say, yeah, I know if I want to do something big, you know, Sagittarius, Mars and the Sun there, I will have to do it slow. I have to do it slow. I will have to look at each step, how I'm going to take it, and I will not have to do shortcuts. Now, Gemini, let's talk a little bit more about this, the moon itself in the sign of Gemini. So this is the energy. This is the message of all of this. Be adaptable. Have your big goal out there. Absolutely go for that big goal, but do it with mastery and caution and patience. Excuse me. That's already a very big message. The other message is when we have to look at the ruler of all of this, which is the ruler of where the moon is in Gemini. So that is Mercury. And what's going on with Mercury? It gives us also a flavor of what's going on here. And whoa, there's a lot going on with Mercury. Because on the 27th of November, Mercury starts to go in its shadow. And what does that mean? It means that the Mercury is preparing itself to go retrograde. It's already in those degrees that where it's going to jump over again when it's in the retrograde. So very significant timing. So a moon in Gemini is all about communication. It's all about things will, and a full moon is about things coming to light. So there's going to be a communication in the field that I'm going to describe for you in a moment. I'm just going to describe the field where that communication is going to come up for you, in what kind of house it is, area of your life that this communication is going to come up. So it's going to be some sort of a trigger, you could say. But the thing is, this Mercury, where the rulership of that moon is also, as I just said, in Sagittarius, at the very end of it, like 24 degrees of Sagittarius, but it's squaring up for the first time Neptune. Now, I talked about this in the monthly horoscopes, and I think next week that I'm going to do the video about the Mercury retrograde a bit more in depth, but I already talked a lot about that in a monthly horoscope of December about this retrograde. And I say there, a bit of a repetition here, that this Mercury retrograde will jump into Neptune 3 times. So this shows that whatever is going to come up with this full moon in Gemini, which is, you could say, normally jolly, it's not going to be as jolly now. It's going to be more serious. And it's going to have to do with communication and how we communicate, and something's going to come up. And what is that information that comes up? What it's going to be like, huh? What's going on here? That's it. We're not going to know what's happening, and we're not going to understand it fully yet. We can only understand it after this Mercury retrograde. So, and that's the universe. So it's nature. It's almost nature is saying to us, or the universe, or God, if you like, or whatever you want to call it, is saying to us, look, information is going to come up, but how you are making the interpretation, there's going to be a little bit, again, flexibility, adaptability. Being adaptable is going to be, again, very important, right? Because you may think the truth, Mercury in Sagittarius, is what it is now, but it might be just a bit different. Maybe you're going to Mercury square Neptune. You think that this person that you are falling for instance, you're single and you totally are smitten, or how do you say that in English? Smitten by someone. And you think, yeah, they like me too. And after all this Mercury square Neptune, it's maybe not the case. Or maybe the opposite. Of course, I hope for you it's the opposite. That you think, no, they're not into me. They're not into me at all. Mercury square Neptune. And then it reveals itself when the Mercury square Neptune phase and retrograde is all over, and it seems like the other way around. Isn't that a romantic thing? I'm just joking here. Of course, this is this Gemini. I'm not joking, but you know what I mean? It's this Gemini light-hearted energy. I'm not going to talk about very big dramatic topics here. That would be good for Scorpio. Everything has its timing, right? So where is it that you be aware of when you think that you know it? Ooh, it's dangerous, right? If you think that you've all figured it out, it's probably not. It's as simple as that. We all have that in our lives, and it has nothing to do with intelligence. No. It has to do with what you want to believe, right? It has to do with what you want to believe. And so investigate, be open and critical, but also open towards the truth revealing itself in front of your eyes. And of course, we all have judgments. Mercury in Sagittarius is very judging. It's very, I'm the wiseacre, I know it all here. Just be careful with that, because you could be wrong. And you could be right. You see, it's Mercury square Neptune. It could be all over the place. But when you know that, it's powerful, because it means that you can just go along with the energy. So this Mercury here, that is in its shadow, so it's going to be at 24 degrees of Sagittarius, and it's going to square up to Neptune at 24 degrees of Pisces. So it's exact on the 27th of November. That's the first day that is like, oh, what's going on here? The second time is when Mercury is going to retrograde. It's a month later, on the 27th of December. Again, Mercury squares up to Neptune. So around the end of the year, again, that Mercury there, what's going on here? And last but not least, the last time that Mercury is going to square up to Neptune when it goes direct again is on the 9th of January. Then it's going to be at 25 degrees. So then, after the 9th of January, put it in your agenda. 9th of January, 10th of January, you're going to see the light. We're all going to see the light. And we are going to be a little bit, depending on how much you want to be deceived or not, depending on how much you are attached to the outcome. Because that's what the universe wants us to do. Not being attached to the outcome. Again, in that example, if someone is in love with someone, not being attached to the outcome, is it the other way around? Just not be attached, just enjoying the moment, do what you have to do. Don't overly invest, don't invest too small, don't overly, that kind of thing, but just be open for what's going to come and just trust. That's what Neptune is trying us to learn. Just trust that what's going to be is the best for everyone involved. If you're doing that, you can have fun with these transits, and I'm not kidding. You can. So interesting, isn't it? I find it very interesting. I hope I said everything here. Yes, I already said a lot, didn't I? Let's get to the signs. So we know that we have to go for it. We have to be cautious how we are going to do it. We have to hold our horses a little bit, hold the fire a little bit. You know, like I'm thinking of the Chariot now, of the Tarot card. It seems like I know a lot about Tarot, but I don't. But anyway, sometimes, you know, for those of you who are more like thinking into pictures, you know, mind you, imagine, I mean, the Chariot, you know, it's like that king here is sitting there. It's not a king. Is it a lion or no, it's not. It's a person, isn't it? And, you know, but that person is in charge of their lower kind of energies. Oh my goodness. Now, tarot, if you are a tarot reader, I hope you don't mind the explanation here that I'm giving. I'm not a tarot reader, I'm an astrologer, and I respect tarot readers a lot. But it can sometimes tell so much more in a picture. And that's it, you know, we are holding our horses, but we're doing that for a reason. And the other thing is be adaptable. Okay, let's get into this and be adaptable with the and also with the information that you're getting. Don't attach yourself too much to the outcome of that information, which is hard. You know, if you want to buy a house, for instance, and I'm waiting for that information, but the information is, I don't know, but it can make one crazy, right? So, but know that this is for your own best interest and for the best interest in the whole. And then it's going to put you on a more like, you know, that Chariot, you know, you're holding those two, what is it, lions or whatever it is, beasts, and you're holding them and you are in control. Anyway, let's get into this. For Aries, this is truly about your communication. The third house is a social house. So when it comes to people, something could come up by people like siblings, neighbors, people in the neighborhood that could come up a communication. So you mind your mind very much with this Mercury in your 9th house there. So be very, very aware of the things that you believe. They might not just be true. Okay? Don't be angry with yourself because that's not going to happen. As in Aries, you're going to feel so fired up because of all this energy that you're having in that 9th house. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to go out there. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to explore and so on and so on. Yes, do this, but know that the information that has come up now, it's in your own best interest, and just investigate. Give it a little bit more time. If you've got some plans for travel, for publishing, for connecting with people from all over the world, studying and whatnot, after the 9th and 10th of, it could be that you're studying as well and that you're having exams after the 9th of January. That would be a good thing, actually, a very good thing. But something comes up here in your day-to-day communication that gives you that, what's going on here? And so it's a lot in your mind, and it's be wise and hold your horses. Remember what I said in the beginning. So, yes, but I think that there is something that is shifting for you that has to do with your viewpoint on life. That's a huge thing. Right? It could be an important travel that you are preparing yourself for as well. Taurians, this is happening in your 2nd house. So the 2nd house, of course, is your house. It's your confidence. It's your money. There's something about money, confidence that's going to come up here. That's where the moon is, the moon in Gemini. So something is going to be revealed, and it's going to be like, what's going on here? And that Mercury is in your 8th house. So there could be things that are very like, woo, when it comes to money that you share with another person. For instance, a business partner. For instance, a spouse, a girlfriend, boyfriend that you share a home with or that you share assets with. There could be something very tricky coming up there that you don't understand and that you want to maybe control. But my advice is don't try to control it. Investigate, let the universe do its work, but it's going to reveal you something. And after the 9th and 10th of January, you're going to know where you're standing in a better way when it comes to your resources, when it comes to your resources of yourself, your validation, and the validation of others. There is a bit of a clash going on between what you value and what another person that is close to you values. For instance, very stupid example, you could value a new car, for instance, and your spouse is saying no. It can be something like that clashes, and but why is this person saying no? Maybe there are things that you don't know when it comes to the shared resources, and so on and so on. So it's about investigating those things and also using that information to kind of improve that situation, right? A Mercury retrograde in the 8th is not easy. Why? Because the 8th house is a secret house, it's a deep house. So you will have to dig a little bit deeper there, but without wanting to control the outcome. That's basically it. Investigate. You could be having, maybe if you have shared resources, and ask an accountant, or an accountant that just said, look, this is your situation. The moon in the 2nd house. And there could be some shifts that you're going to make, that you will have to make, but make them cautiously and very smartly. Geminis, wow, this is happening in your sign, right? So something comes up. It's probably you that is communicating something, right? With the moon in your 1st house. And that other person seems to be very excited or very angry because what it is that you're saying, right? The Sun and Mars in the 7th house, I mean, you can see that as very positive, very sexy energy, very hot energy, or you can see it as fighting energy. I hope it's the 1st, of course, for you. But anyway, whatever it is, the Mercury is going retrograde there in your 7th house of connections and relationships. So there is something there that you're not seeing yet. So you're saying something, and there is something that was close to your heart, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But they are probably also saying something. And now what? So there is some investigation needed here with this Mercury square Neptune. The best thing that I can advise you, because you are Mercury, so you are there in that 7th house, which means that not only when it comes to love, it can also be business partners. And when you're single, it could be a person there that catches your eye, that you have an interest in, and that you're not really knowing where they are coming from. If that is the case, trust that it will reveal itself. Maybe you are single and you are dating, and you are meeting someone and you're all loved up, and they're saying, yeah. And they're always talking about their ex, and you kind of feel something, but you're not quite sure. You're always, when they're talking about their ex, their eyes kind of do this. And what's going on there, right? Well, it will reveal itself. You don't have to do anything now. After the 9th to 10th of January, you will know because of circumstances that need to happen outside of you. So it's about the trust in the universe, basically, and the trust that things will reveal itself. And you will know if you were wrong or not. And the more you detach yourself from it. But meanwhile, of course, go on with the dating, or go on with, but hold your boundaries a little bit. Right? And you can go on like that. So it's just an example, but also in existing relationships, there is something that is like, not like 100% that you think is not true, or that is a bit disillusional, or whatever it is. If you want to do, how to navigate this? Well, your intentions. Make sure that your intentions are full of integrity. You can't go wrong then, because you're going to see if other people are not being coming from the same place, right? For whatever reason, you're going to see it, and then you can decide what you're doing. Very interesting. Cancerians, this is happening behind the scenes. This is Gemini is a sign just before Cancer, so it's happening in your 12th house. So there is something that reveals itself. That the 12th house is the house that we sometimes don't know what's happening there in that house. It's called the house of the unconscious. And sometimes, so the things that we don't even know about ourselves, but a spouse or a good friend would know it, that we act a certain way, a certain pattern, but it's a bit hidden from ourselves. So something will be revealed about a pattern that you have. That could not always be the healthiest pattern. The 12th house is the house where we want to escape. And whatever it is, you can escape in a healthy way, but you definitely can escape into a not so healthy way. So this could come up. Something about that. And the things here that are activated is your 6th house with the Mercury going backwards and forwards. So there is something that you are thinking about that has to do with your day-to-day life. Could be work, it could be your health. The 6th house is a house of health and work, your day-to-day stuff that you do. If you don't work, it's your, how you go into your life on a routine kind of way, like in the morning you wake up at 8, or some wake up at 10, whatever, or some at 6, at 5. Anyway, your routines, they are about to shift those routines in a way for you that you can be healthier, that you can be more not escaping from life in an unhealthy way. It's all about that. So for you, it's a lot about your health. It's a lot about your day-to-day life. And it's a lot about habits that are not so good for you, to just delete them and to have new ones. But that's going to take time, right? So, and after the 9th and the 10th of January, it's going to be very clear for you what the new routines, the new ways of working are going to be. It could also mean simple that you're fed up with work, for instance, and you're going on a vacation, and or the work that you're doing, you're going to change it into a new job. For some of you, that will be the case as well. But it's a lot about you. It's not so much about other people now. It's a lot about you. So don't fool yourself now with this possibility of the full moon in your 12th house. And be aware of the clarity that you're going to get. Be open for the clarity of information that's going to come in for you when it comes to your day-to-day life and your health. Virgos, this is a lot about work. If you do work, if you're not working, this is about your public life, how people see you, basically. This full moon is happening in the 10th house of work. So there could be something that you're very, that is very public. And but at the same time, there's a tension at home. So it's the typical stuff about life-work balance. There could be coming up something there that you have to restore, or that puts you out of the balance. Information, Mercury in the 4th house about relatives, or it's getting you a little bit out of that balance. And of course, what am I saying, Virgos? And I skipped Leo. What is going on here? What am I going to do? I'm gonna continue with Virgo and then do Leo. Yes, I'm going to do it like that. Okay. I will not have to forget it. But anyways, Virgos, I wanted to jump into my own sign way too soon. But anyway, it's a very important full moon for sure. So it's a sign that you have to hold your horses, right? Because I just wanted to jump in too quickly into your sign. So hold your horses with anything that you, when it comes to information that is revealed by a relative, right? Mercury in the 4th house, that is revealed around your home. Maybe you're thinking about selling a home, buying a home. Hold your horses. Don't beat too quickly, because it squares up to Neptune in your 7th house. So information that other people are giving you, hopefully they're not doing it consciously. Let's hope that. But it's very, very confusing, right? So, and you are ruled by Mercury. So important decisions that have to be made around home, around work, do them after the 9th to 10th of January. That's basically your message here. right? So, but it's going to come up with something at your work and something at home at the same time. But very interesting for you, of course, to trust, right? Because Virgos are having, well, all the Virgos that I'm doing readings for, having a hard time with this Neptune, right? With the square to their, with the opposition to their energy. So it's not easy for a Virgo because Virgo is very result oriented. It wants to have a result and it focuses on that. And so therefore it's very accurate, it's analytical, and it wants to do it step by step. But Neptune is just messing around, right? It's not really messing around, but it seems like it is messing around. But Neptune is learning and teaching the Virgos, trust, the universe got your back. If it has to be like this, it will be like that. So it's not a typical Virgo thing, I know, but whatever it is that comes up, don't judge too quickly, okay? Don't judge too quickly. Leave some space for, for the truth to be revealed, which will be after the 9th and the 10th of January. Dear Leos, so sorry to skip you. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that at all. Dear Leos, are you feeling that very fired up energy? And it's going to be in, your 5th house. Wow. That is being so fired up. All that Sagittarian energy trines your energy, which is amazing. And then that moon there, that full moon in your 11th house of friends and of people, it's such a social time for you. But at the same time, Saturn is playing its role. It's playing its role of be cautious, watch out, let the universe do its work and all of that. So let's say you are, for instance, so what is a trigger? Friends, goals for the future, associations. There could be something that triggers, whether it is through social media or something that is catching your eye. And or it could be like, for instance, you say, I'm a single Leo and I have an eye on a friend, for instance. So there's something that needs to reveal itself. So do that with patience, because you as a Leo, with all that fire, with all that Mars and Sun in the 5th house, you could be so fired up in your heart, boom, 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 all of that, which is fantastic. But just be calm and sit down. Invest, absolutely, but don't overly invest. See what's going on and see what's going to reveal itself. Could be for good, right? It's always going to be for good for everyone involved. But that's such a difficult thing to tackle, right? It's all good and well when there's something positive, but when it's not, it's very hard because we're human beings. But whatever it is, you will have fun for sure, but you will be cautious, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You will be very cautious, and there could be some problems there coming up with intimacy with Saturn in your 8th house. That's not an easy energy at all. So you could feel like you can't show your true heart. You can't show your true self. Of course, if you think that is the right person to do that with, to reveal who you truly are, and it's not just about sex here, it could be about sex, but it's just a part of it. With that Saturn in the 8th house, it's being vulnerable. It's showing your vulnerabilities to a person, to a significant other. And there could be some energy that you're holding back, but just see how it goes, and it will be revealed to you for sure. Librans, this is happening in your 9th house. This is enjoyable, you dear Librans, even with the Saturn there. Why is it? Because Gemini is a fellow air sign, and it's happening in your 9th house. So there is something that comes up that you definitely see something. You could have the aha moments and all that juicy stuff with this moon there in your 9th house, or you could be traveling and something reveals itself there. You could be studying, teaching, and something comes up that really blows your mind. But it's in a more positive way for you because it's that energy of air and air. The Mercury retrograde, though, is in your 3rd house. So you could have to go back towards things that maybe when it comes to computers or messages or things that you said or things that other people said, you know, for you for sure, because these are thinking houses, these are communicative houses, and it's about a communicative moon. So watch your mouth for sure, but also watch what you think. Be very mindful of the synapses that are formed in your brain. What are they doing? Or they're triggered, and especially if you feel that they are triggered, examine them and see where it's going to go. So it could mean some of you who are studying, for instance, that you're going to shift your study, or that you are having an exam that you already have done in the past, and you have to do a redo, which is a good energy here for that. But whatever it is, it's a lot about your mind. So if there is communication coming to you and you think, what's going on here? Take it with a piece of salt. Take it with a piece of salt. It's going to come out what it's really all about. Scorpios, this is happening in your house. This full moon, the full moon in Scorpio, in the 8th house of the Scorpio house. So this is very intense. This is very behind the scenes. It could be something secret comes up. It could be through a communication because it's in Gemini. There could be something ending and beginning. There is some endings and beginnings, but it can be for a lot of you on a psychological level. So that something comes up that you are tackling now, and it probably has to do with value. For some of you, it also has to do with money. Something comes up, something that has to do with the shared resources with maybe a spouse or a business partner. Something comes up there. And the Mercury is in your 2nd house. So what you thought that was the truth about your finances is now questioned. And that's never a bad thing. It can give you a lot of anxiety because you're a Scorpio and you want stability and you want emotional stability. But now it can also be on a financial level or an emotional level. Let's start with the financial level. Whatever it is, do more examination is recommended here. And know that parties could be especially when you're dealing with another person and the shared resources and investments and whatnot, take your time. Hold your horses, right? Take your time to examine this. Ask someone that is outside of the picture, so to speak, or a second opinion about something. Around your finances, and examine it, because there is a tendency to improve it for sure. But after the 9th and the 10th of January, things will be revealed. On another level, on a more emotional level, this could mean that something comes up about how another person is valuing you. Could be for better or for worse, right? Something comes up and you're questioning your self-worth because of that. Because of the truth of someone. Is it the truth that someone is speaking? Right? So it's it can, Scorpios will definitely not show it, but with Mercury in the 2nd house, there is a tendency of questioning your own worth. So what is this going on? What is this? Is it it's always a good thing for every now and then to questioning your worth and your talents, right? Because it can invite you to, not to undermine you, but to become better, to become a better person, even in a skill, to become, if you are doing business and your clients are telling you hey, you're doing this and that wrong, it can be the case like that as well. Might be very interesting that this is not something that you like, but you could even improve your business if you listen to that. But examine it, right? So don't take it at face value. Examine it. Do it like a true Scorpion, with it in a strategic way, and you go all the way in examining it but not attaching yourself too much to it. That's the downside of the Scorpio, because the Scorpio personality is very, very invested and very, very attached. If you can do this now without all of that investment, just the passion, yes, but then letting go of it, and the trust. That's the whole thing. The trust in the universe, in yourself, that It will come out how it's supposed to come out. This can truly give you an upgrade in your financial situation after all this is done, and in the value that you have towards yourself, in your confidence. Sagittarians, wow, this is our time, isn't it? This is our time, Sagittarians, because this is all happening in the 7th house. This something that is revealed for sure. Someone, even if you're single, someone's going to reveal something to you. The moon in the 7th house, they're going to put their heart on their sleeves. Or is that the expression? I hope it is. I mean, it's communication that's coming from someone else, the moon in the 7th house, but it's probably likely that it's gonna get you a little bit out of balance, right? With this Mercury square Neptune, because this Mercury is in your house and the square of Neptune is to the 4th house. So all the key areas of your life are activated here, or most of them. So you're gonna question your own, and that's a good thing, questioning how you are gonna say something to someone. And the best advice that I can give you is follow your integrity. Examine the integrity and the intention behind your words, behind your actions, why you are doing things. You know, it's the big question of the Sagittarian. Why? And they love to pose it to themselves. I certainly do. I have a Sagittarius rising, and I certainly do that a lot, sometimes too much. But anyway, so ask yourself, something has come up from another person. What did I say or did I not say to confuse myself or to confuse others? And it's not about doing wrong or anything. No, it's about getting to know yourself better. Don't we all want that? You know, we who've got planets in Sagittarius, whether it is a sun or a moon or your rising sign, you want to know the whole truth. And so when someone is saying something to you, you know, be cautious. Like, for instance, say you're single and someone is declaring their love to you. And you thought, they're not into me. You know, be very careful there. Be very cautious, careful, and the truth will reveal itself. The other way around as well. When they say, no, don't like you, well, they might be liking you more. But again, do it in this way that you are supposed to do, right? And the Sagittarian is very optimistic and the glass is always half full. Do your thing. So you can only do yours so much as your thing, right? When other people are involved, and with this full moon, it's very much about other people. So if you're in a relationship, someone else could be telling you something. You have to question what they're saying, and you also have to question what you are thinking. So actually, it's something that Sagittarians can do quite well, unless they have a lot of Scorpio in their chart, you know, with like a Venus in Scorpio or a Mercury in Scorpio, because that often happens with people who've got the sun in the Sagittarius. So you have to watch out for your too much, if you do have some Scorpio planets there, your scorpionic tendencies of, I want to attach myself to the outcome and it's control, it has to be like that. But if you're more like the Sagittarian with not so many kind of Plutonian, Scorpionic energies, you're going to like this energy. Because Sagittarius with this, you're going to like this because you want to know the truth. And you want to look like, hey, what is the universe? You know, you have that good bond with the universe, don't you? And you are saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to do my part. I can do me. I can try to do it, to be as conscious as I can and to be full of integrity, right? Not coming from a place of fear in my actions, in my speech. And I'm going to try to not be too blunt, you know, to not be too, yes, you're ugly, right? I mean, or yes, I hope this is funny. I'm saying this in a funny way, I hope. But anyway, that you're kind of respectful to people, right? And when people are not respectful to you, I would suggest to hold your horses as well. So there could be someone that, you know, you're dating and someone is really, really not being respectful to you. You could be really panicking now, like Mercury square Neptune. What's going on here? I never expected that. What's going on? Just let it rest, you know, let it rest. And of course, say thank you very much, and and say the truth. I'm confused now. And do another date after the 9th of January then, and things will clear up for sure. Capricorns, the 6th house. Yes, this is your work. So something is going to be your work and your health and your routine. Something is going to be revealed here. So it could mean that there are changes coming up around the workplace, or a shift there, or something that is going to reveal itself. And it's going to, because Mercury is in your 12th house, it's going to be like confusing you, to say the least. Maybe some restless, some dreams, and some nights that you can't sleep. Mercury is there, Mars is there. Don't expect that you're going to have those very nice, amazing sleep cycles, but it's there to show you different ways. It's there to show you parallel universes. Maybe there's another possibility. That could be, if you're open to that, like meditation, or doing some relaxation exercises or whatnot, or walking around the beach, whatever, at night with your dog, all alone, with no other energies around you. It could be really, really interesting for you. So there could be something that you have lost, that you can't find. And after the 9th and the 10th, it comes out. And it can be an idea, and it can literally be something, but I'm referring more towards an idea, an understanding of something. So, but whatever it is, doing some charity work, for instance, if you're into that, do it. Because with Mars in your 12th, with Mercury in the 12th, you could be doing a lot behind the scenes. No one needs to know. You're just doing it because you feel like it. You don't want anything in return. It could be that as well for you. Aquarians, this is nice for you. You are a fellow air sign, and this is happening in your 5th house. The house of enjoyment, the house of sexuality, the house of love, the house of children, the house of projects that you want to do and that are coming from the heart, all that good juicy stuff. So it could be like when you're single, that you're falling in love, and the moon in that 5th house, it's like it shows itself. It could be related to a friend, because the sun and Mars are in the 11th house, so you're being very active with friends, if you know what I mean. Anyway, it could be that for sure. Now, whatever it is, especially when it's about people, mind your communication, and also mind their communication. When you're thinking like, ugh, something is off here, probably there is, with this Mercury retrograde and whatnot, but just be a bit patient there, and it will be revealed to you around the 10th of January for sure. But all in all, this energy, actually the Saturn is in your 2nd house, so the thing that can hold you back is your values. You could be, maybe you are dating with a friend, and in the friend circle they would have a lot of critique on you and whatnot, and that's holding you back a little bit. But just be cautious there, and do it each step that you're supposed to do. Don't try to do shortcuts, do it in the right way, and you will be well. On another level, what can hold you back is money. You're spending too much money on the things that you love to do. Could be as simple as that as well. But whatever it is, there could also be a goal that you have for the future that is re-examined here, and that is because you know it now, because something has become clear in the things that you love to do. So maybe you're doing a hobby, or you're sporting, or whatever it is that you're doing, and you have an idea all of a sudden, like, oh, but that would change my aspirations for the future, my goals for the future. I would have to totally change them. I would have to totally shift them. And you're doing that. Last but not least, Pisceans. This full moon is in your 4th house. So what are you doing there around the 27th of November? Are you having a party at home? It could be. There could be like some that you're just a bit more grounded, or more guarded, I would say, with Saturn in your 1st house, for whatever the reason is. And I think it's a good thing. with Saturn in your first house and also Neptune. You know, I talked about that a lot. It's a lot about being open and being guarded at the same time. How on earth are you doing that, dear Pisceans? Write in the comments how you're dealing with this very opposite energy. Whatever it is, that could be something revealed literally around your home. So if you're buying or selling a new home, now there could be a breakthrough, or there's something happening with relatives, a communication of some sort. And there is like unclarity because of that. This also has to do a lot for some of you. For some of you, a lot. You see how confused. I'm sure you're not going to be angry with me that I'm not being that clear today. But anyway, Mercury squaring Neptune also involves your 10th house of career. So there could be something there that the work-life balance need to be restored. Either you work too much or either you work not enough. It could be something like that, and you have to restore that. So that could be the thing. Or something is revealed about your family and you have to rethink how you're going to put forward your work. Maybe you will have to do it in a different way, or maybe you have to improve it for the future. And that is after the 10th of January, for instance. But whatever it is, it's a very important time for you. It is a bit of a confusing time for the multiple signs, and you're one of them. So know as well, so for you, the beginning is definitely also, the beginning of the introduction is so true for you. So again, mind your communication, mind what you're exuding, but also be a bit critical towards what other people are saying and what other people are expressing, and especially the people at the workplace, because that is where the Mercury is going backwards and forwards. So communication with bosses, for instance, could be a bit more tricky in that respect, that they're saying something that you say, I thought I was promised a promotion, for instance, and it's not. Just hold your horses, and maybe when everything sorts itself out, just do you, follow your integrity. And it could mean that after the 10th of January, there is like things revealing themselves. Okay, could also be the other way around, maybe. And I hope that is for you, you know, that you think, oh no, I haven't done it. You have your communication at the end of the year with your boss, for instance, and it's like, oh, they're not saying anything. And then on the 10th and the 11th of January, you're getting a bonus. Let's hope it's that kind of story. Now, on a relationship level, because Mercury is a ruler of your 7th house of people, other people could really be not so clear to you. Look at me with this, you know, message that I have. You know, I'm a Virgo. I'm usually very clear in what I'm expressing, and now it might not be clear. But the thing is, you as a Piscean, you are very empathic and you understand where people are coming from. So this energy is probably for you not the most difficult energy. It's way more difficult for your opposite sign, which is the Virgo, to deal with this kind of energy. So do your thing, be the best version of the Piscean that you can be. Just let the universe do its work. Don't attach yourself to the outcome, basically. And but do you in a very integral, in a way that is full of integrity, and in a way that you want to be, and the woman and the man that you want to be in this world as from today, right? Every day we have an opportunity to improve that. And so thank you so much for all of you for listening to this video. I wish you a very good full moon in Gemini. Bye-bye.